Do you know what the word distribute means? If not, think of Santa Claus.
Merry Christmas!
When Santa gives out presents to children all over the world, we could say he's distributing those presents. He's giving them out to everyone. But does he actually give them to everyone? No, he can be kind of stingy with them. He only gives them to the nice kids. The naughty get coal. So what is Santa doing? Santa is grouping all of the nice kids together and then distributing them gifts. Look at this image. Look at these two children. They're grouped together because they're both nice, and the gift is going to be distributed to both of them, like this. But if there are any naughty children outside of the group, outside of the parentheses, then they don't get the gift. It's only those who are inside of the parentheses, the nice kids. So what am I talking about? I'm not talking about just Santa Claus. I'm talking about the distributive property. Okay? This is a property of numbers that says when we have one term multiplied by a whole bunch of other terms inside of parentheses, then that one term gets distributed to everything inside of the parentheses. It's multiplied to every term inside of the parentheses. This helps us combine like terms and solve equations. But before we get to that level, we want to make sure we really understand how to use the distributive property. So let's look at some notes and examples to make sure we got it. All right, so here is a general way of looking at the distributive property. A parentheses B plus C parentheses, okay? So let's break that down a little bit. A, B, and C represent any numbers, okay? Any values can go in there. Those are just variables where we can just plug in any numbers or terms to those, okay? They're just representing very general terms. A is on the outside of the parentheses, okay? And that means it's being multiplied with everything inside, both B and C. B and C are being added together, but what you'll most likely find is that you can't add B and C together because they're not like terms. That's why they're separate. But since A is out here, and remember parentheses means multiplication, this means we're multiplying A with B and with C. Okay, so we're going to take A times B and A times C. I can write that as A times B plus A times C. So notice how A got multiplied with B and A got multiplied with C. I can also write it without the multiplication symbols and just write it AB plus AC. Okay. So the main thing you want to take away from this is when we're distributing a term, multiplying through everything else, we multiply with everything that's inside the parentheses. Okay, so that A times B plus A times C. And notice my sign didn't change. Okay, it's still plus. It's still there. Okay? And if there were two terms inside of the parentheses, then I end up with two terms at the end. So let's look at a few examples. A says 5 times y plus 2. Okay, so 5 is on the outside, and so that's what's going to be multiplied times the y and times the 2. So that's 5 times y plus 5 times 2. Okay. So notice I took 5 times y, 5 times 2, and then the plus stayed the same. Okay? That plus is there. And then I can simplify. 5 times y is just 5y. When you multiply a number and a variable, you just push them together like that. Plus, what's 5 times 2? 10. Okay? And that's my final answer, because I can't combine it anymore. Right? These are not like terms, 5y and 10. These are not like terms, so I can't combine them. So I leave my answer just like that. Let's look at another one. B, 6 times 5 plus x. Notice the 5 and the x are not like terms, so that's why I can't combine them there. But because this 6 is on the outside of these parentheses, I can multiply it with what's inside. Okay? Multiply with what's inside. And notice that there's nothing in between the parentheses and the 6, right? If there was something like 6 plus 5 plus x, if it was like that, and there was like this plus symbol in the middle there, then I couldn't do that. I'm not going to multiply. That's not the distributive property. Okay? when, well, it can't simplify it, but it's not the distributive property. And so when you just see the 6 outside the parentheses, that means I'm multiplying it with everything on the inside. So this is 6 times 5 plus 6 times x. Okay, so I'm multiplying with everything. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 6 times x is 6x. And that would be your final answer because you can't combine anything more. Let's do another one. C. 8 times y plus 2. 8 times y plus 2. So I'll take 8 times y, it's 8y, and 8 times 2 is 16, and then the plus sign is still there. 8 times y is 8y, 8 times 2 is 16, and that would be your final answer. Okay? So this is just another way to simplify expressions, and it's a different type of expression, right? It looks a little different because we have that number outside the parentheses. So when you encounter that, that's how you want to approach this. Is that starting to make sense? Whatever number is outside the parentheses gets multiplied with everything that's inside the parentheses, everything. When you're doing this, make sure you're paying attention to your signs, though, like with subtractions and negatives, okay? Because that can sometimes flip things around. So make sure if you're not comfortable with those, you're using a calculator. Let's do a couple more examples. Let's look at when it's subtraction. Now, the thing is here, nothing changes. When it's subtraction, you just have that subtraction sign there. Okay? So I've got 2 times x, that's 2x. And I've got 2 times 4. Oops. So I took 2 times x, and then I took 2 times 4. That's 8. So that's 2x minus 8. And that's it. I can't combine them anymore because they're not like terms. And so that's it. What's on the outside gets multiplied with everything on the inside. Let's do one more. E. 3 times 2x minus 4. So I'm taking 3 times 2x minus 4. So I'll do 3 times 2x minus 3 times 4. Okay? So 3 gets multiplied with everything there. Now I don't know if you've encountered this before. You got 3 times a number and a variable, 3 times 2x. Well, when that happens, you can multiply those. So we've talked about how when you're combining like terms, they have to have the same variable, same exponent. Well, that's for addition and subtraction. When we're multiplying, they don't have to have the same variable, an exponent. Okay? We can just multiply them together. So we look, this is 3 times 2 times x. Well, 3 times 2 is 6, and so 3 times 2x is 6x. Minus 3 times 4 is 12. Okay? So I took 3 times 2x, and that's 6x, because 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 4 is 12. So that's my final answer. So you take the 3 times everything that's on the inside, 3 times 2x, and 3 times 4. And my sign stayed the same.